This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Hey everybody, it is the After Party live. Please subscribe, please hit the like button, and thank you for being here on this Veterans Day. If you served, thank you for your service for this country. And if you are someone who is a family member of someone who served, thank you for your service as well. Because I know that that's a sacrifice too. So there is a big Veterans Day parade in Petaluma. It is the biggest one in the North Bay area. And my daughter is front and center at the Petaluma High School marching band as the drum major today. And the parade just started a half an hour ago, and I'm not able to see her do that. But if I get video during the show, maybe we can watch it together. So kind of exciting. It's her first big parade as the drum major. So, you know. YouTube was not showing my comments on Mark's show. Testing. I see your comments here, Deidre. I don't know why. I didn't see any of your comments on Mark's show either, so I don't know what happened. But I can go back in and look and make sure you weren't inadvertently blocked on that show. There's been a lot of kind of trolly behavior on that show lately. As it grows, that's just kind of what happens. And sometimes when you click to block someone, the system we use does some weird shenanigans, so I'll go in and I'll make sure that you're free and clear and good to go, because I know you deserve that status. Okay, what else? What do we have here? Oh yeah, some unpleasant chatters. Sometimes there are, unless they threaten or unless they are lying, out and out lying and doing that type of thing, I don't have any room to block them. But unpleasant, I wish we didn't have to deal with that though, because I really like this community and I want to keep it good for everyone. So I hate that that's happening. Yeah. Oh, I love the way you stood up for us women today. Did I? I don't know. Oh, because I said that America's not ready for a female president. Well, yeah. I know we don't get political here, but that's how it feels to me. How we could have the better candidate in both instances. I have to think it's because of our gender, right? Good afternoon, says Jem. Still trying to get ready for the next 4 crazy years. Thanks to any veterans here at the after party. Do we have veterans? Rev P with the flags. Oh, is my volume low? Uh-oh. Petaluma. Yes, Petaluma. Pick your favorite one. Oh, thank you. Yeah, my husband is a former Marine, so I appreciate that. Now, I wasn't a military wife. I didn't know him when he served, but yeah, thank you for that. Uh-oh, check my microphone settings. What's wrong with them? Do I not sound good? Uh-oh. Hmm. You should have. I thought about it, but I don't want to leave you guys hanging, and I didn't mention anything. So my husband's down there taking video of her. Huh. I don't know. I don't know what to do about my microphone. If anyone can't hear me or feels, Calvin says the volume is okay. Heather says it's good. Okay, good. All right. Nice. Thank you for that. I can hear you fine. Mo says the sound is soft and a tiny bit low. Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't changed any settings on my end. Maybe you can pump it up a little bit. I don't know. Jennifer says it sounds okay. Yeah. And Sandy says it sounds okay. Nolophidian. All right. Well, let's move forward. Not a lot of time because Mark's show went long today, but I do have some good stories for you. And the first one I think is really uplifting for those of us that love Hawaii. And I don't necessarily think you even have to have been there to just, maybe you do. I don't know. There's a feeling you get in Hawaii when you just look around at the beauty and the people and the history. But I'll stand by it. I don't necessarily think you have to have been there. I think you just have to have respect for the land. The SF Gate publication had this really cool story that made me feel happy. And it's about this land in the Pololu Valley on the Big Island in Kohala. And this is an area, the Kohala Coast, that is rich with Hawaiian history. There's the statue of where King Kamehameha was born. It feels like there's old history here, and there is. There's a lot of sacred areas here, burial grounds, worship places. This is a really important area for Hawaiians. So again, this is the Pololu Valley. It is a sanctuary area. There are many areas of sacred cultural significance in this area. There are people that still live here that their ancestors, are buried in these areas. And tourists come as well. This land was recently purchased. And here's this woman, all right? Her name is, here she is. Uh-oh, having a problem changing pictures. I don't know why that is. Here she is. Okay. So there's this lady. And her name is Sarah Pule Fujii. And she is the ancestor to the people who lived on this land long ago. And she works every day giving speeches. She's a Pololu Valley steward. So you can see her here talking to tourists. So she works every day giving her spiel to tourists about the land and about how there's no swimming here because the current's too strong, and how you need to make sure you have enough water if you're going to do this hike because people often collapse and get dehydrated. It's a really rough hike. The trail is very strenuous. She'll warn you. And then she'll talk to you about the areas that are off limits and why. There's a bunch of sand dunes that are behind a rope on the valley floor. She said they're ancient burial grounds. It's where her native Hawaiian ancestors are buried. She asks you to be very respectful of this area. Please don't go behind the ropes. And she gives her whole spiel and she talks about the history and everything else. One of the people that was in a group one day listening to her speak turns out to be the new owner of this land. It was purchased. It was supposed to be a couple of years ago. They were going to create a 13-lot subdivision on this sacred land. It's a head scratcher, right? Right now, this land is completely unspoiled and beautiful. There's another picture of it. Can you believe it? They're going to put 13 houses here. But they didn't. Why? Because there was community backlash. So the developer put the property back on the market and somebody else bought it. A private landowner acquired this property, listened to the spiel, went down there, listened to Sarah's talk, and decided to leave it undeveloped. I mean, talk about putting your money in the right place to do the right thing. If that is not uplifting, I don't know what is. So the landowner wants to remain anonymous, but they said Pule Fujii's speech on the sacredness and cultural importance of the valley left a lasting impression on him, saying it sparked my desire to help provide a solution to some of the difficulties the Pololu community was experiencing. So Sarah says, when we had this meeting and he told us that he was going to keep it the way it is, I started tearing up and he started tearing up. And it was one special moment for him to feel the way that we feel. And so they're going to fix up the trailhead that's been damaged by tourists over time. And they're going to keep the foundation that allows Sarah to give her spiel to tourists. This man went and talked to the lineal descendants, the cultural practitioners, students in the area, the generational families in this area, and the longtime residents to help shape the future of this valley. Who says you can't do the right thing? Who says you can't? This is amazing. I mean, what great news for them. So, with this donation of the property, they're going to put in a heritage center. They're going to put in portable toilets, a parking lot to help offset the problems parking along the highway above. They're going to redesignate the current lookout for cultural and special access so that local families have a space to engage in cultural practices here. They're going to limit visitor capacity through an online reservation system, only 250 people a day now. Non-residents will have to pay for parking, and all the money accrued will go back into the stewardship program currently funded through 2026. And so there you go. The Pololu Valley gets this amazing benefactor, and he wants to stay anonymous. I mean, I'm celebrating him, whoever he is. Here's a gross story. I didn't want to show you the actual things that washed up on this beach because they're gross. And I don't want to play for you the video of the things washing up on the beach because they're gross. Just suffice it to say, this beach is closed due to pollution. What kind of pollution? Fatbergs. Never heard of them before. This is in Sydney, Australia, where these kind of dark balls washed up on the beaches. And they thought, are they tar? Is it like tar balls? No. They're called fatbergs. I had to look that up. What the heck's a fatberg? Fatbergs are little balls of things that include human feces. The black balls were first spotted on Bondi Beach in mid-October, and then similar balls were found on other city beaches in the ensuing days. At first, they thought they were tar balls because of an unknown oil spill, but testing has now confirmed they contain cooking oil, soap scum, industrial chemicals, drug residue, hair, and human feces. They're called fatbergs, and they're sewer blocking accumulations of fat, grease, and sewage. Is that gross? Yeah. A professor from the University of New South Wales says they smell absolutely disgusting. They smell worse than anything you've ever smelt, he said, with a T. He said the contents of the balls pointed us to sewage and other sources of urban effluent as their source. So the wastewater officials in Sydney says we don't think we have any issues, but apparently they do. They're still investigating how all these fatbergs, balls of things including human feces, ended up on the beaches in Australia. And clearly the beach is closed due to pollution. So gross. You're welcome for not showing you that. Now I have a happier story now. And this one came from Julie via email. And I thought we could use this pick me up. It's a little interesting because this story is about a dog who nurses a cat, which I did not know was possible. Apparently, you have to see this with your own eyes. And again, thank you to Julie D for the message. Here's the story out of Manitoba.
Her kitten? Despite not having a litter and never being pregnant, 11-month-old Phoenix started producing milk not long after this feral orphaned kitten showed at Patricia Chanin's property north of Winnipeg.
Some things you have to see with your own eyes to believe it. And yeah, that is the first time.
She spent her life training, boarding, and fostering animals and noticed an instant bond between the pair.
Snickers started laying on Phoenix's belly and doing the purring and the stamping. And I told my vet tech friend, hey, that's so cute, and it looks like she's nursing.
And Phoenix was. This veterinarian explains how the kitten made it happen.
As long as there was continual stimulation by the teats with suckling, it could stimulate the female dog to produce milk.
Interesting fact, though.
Cats' milk has much higher protein and fat than dogs.
It's okay because Snickers is getting extra nutrition from cat food. Chanin believes their little arrangement is all meant to be. Phoenix was part of a litter of 6 rescued by Manitoba Animal Alliance. All but Phoenix died of the distemper virus. Her road to recovery, though, long and costly.
Your nickname is $1 Million Puppy because we spend all our money on that dog right now.
Her care bill is expected to hit $20,000 when all is said and done. Perhaps this is Phoenix's way of paying it forward, helping another furry friend in his time of need. Melissa Ridgen, Global News.
Oh, so that's a nice story. Creatures loving each other, taking care of each other. But who knew that was possible? They're doing something in San Francisco. They had a bunch of issues with thieves ramming vehicles into storefronts, shattering windows, grabbing all the stuff they could, throwing it into the vehicle, and leaving. Enter these weird looking barricades. These are supposed to keep vehicles from doing just that, smashing into stores and stealing stuff. And so there's this luxury store in Union Square in San Francisco trying to stop retail theft with these barricades, something Oakland businesses have been doing for a while. This is in front of Dior in Union Square. And yeah, it's weird. They're weird looking, right? I mean, easy for us to walk around them, but now you can't smash right into this place. I tend to think, and maybe this is a bit cynical, here it is from another angle. I tend to think that thieves will find another way, but at least this keeps you from smashing your vehicle right into the middle of this place. You gotta bolt these things into the ground. They're called bollards. The public works inspectors reached out to the fronting business owner yesterday, apparently, according to SF Gate, said the department is working with local stores on installing decorative planters and bollards or sturdy posts to prevent cars from plowing into the businesses. This is not a 1 or 2 time thing in San Francisco. It's happened multiple times. Even as far back as when I was working at KGO and reporting and not anchoring, I was sent to stories where drivers smashed into the front of, I think I was sent to Patagonia. I was sent to a Wells Fargo museum where thieves smashed in, tried to take gold nuggets. So maybe this will work. I don't know. What do you think? You think this will keep vehicles from smashing in? Or do you think it's, someone will just come and go around it? Maybe with some other type of heavy machinery that's a little smaller. I don't know. They always seem to find a way. Yeah. Phineas says that is not handicapped accessible. I mean, if you had a wheelchair, though, couldn't you just roll around the bollard and into the store? I don't know. Mo says those right angles to the horizontal plane would definitely hurt my ribs. Absolutely. And Phineas, with a good point, how many businesses can afford this? It's true. You can't, I mean, it has to be expensive to have that done. Barriers. Yeah. They knew those in front of the Apple stores, writes Deidre. They've got the money for it. It's kind of unsightly. In some cases, the city is trying to make them into planters or something that looks a little less like, I don't know. I don't know what that I would say that looks like. It doesn't look very friendly though at all. Right? It's not, I mean, yeah. That's our new San Francisco, having these things all over the sidewalk. Maybe the city will pay for it. Maybe. Gordon says if they're selling diamonds, they can afford the barriers. In-N-Out and on Hagenberger could have stayed in business with those. Well, that's funny, but they weren't smashing the windows at In-N-Out. They were stealing things out of cars, right? Smashing the car windows outside. Looks like something they tie a cruise ship to. Thank you, John Watson. Exactly right. Look at that. That is exactly it. I mean, that'll do some damage to your car. There's that. We'll move on. How about the biggest sauna in the world? Did you know that it's in San Francisco? The biggest, not world, I'm sorry, country. The biggest sauna in the United States. All right? It's here in San Francisco. So maybe I just was expecting the biggest sauna in the United States to be somehow even bigger. This doesn't look so big to me. I don't know. I thought it was going to be massive. This is at Alchemy Springs. It's San Francisco's newest bathhouse, and this is the apparently biggest freestanding sauna in the United States. All right. They had officially opened during the summer. This is on Post Street. They have 8,500 square feet of indoor and outdoor space. And they say I don't know how many people you can fit in this sauna. They've got a gorgeous garden. They've got a fire pit, lounge chairs, plunge baths, outdoor showers, hanging eucalyptus, all of these things. And then they have this massive sauna. And again, here's what it looks like. So here's the outside of it. And here's what it looks like on the inside. So it looks a little bigger on the inside in San Francisco, in case you wanted to go hang out with people. They said that they trying to figure out how many people can fit in. I think they said more than 50 people can fit in here. So, I don't necessarily know if I want to be with 50 people in there. Yeah, I don't think so. 40-person sauna. 40 people can fit in here. Yeah. A circular 40-person sauna. That's pretty big. Biggest in the United States? All right. Okay. You could take yoga here too. They have a room with natural glow in the dark art. Alchemy Springs is the name of this place, just in case that's your jam. I don't know if I want to be crammed with 40 other people in there. It's nice sauna though. Biggest in the United States, apparently. Yeah. Oh, that's our elephant picture from the other day. Here's a story about wild salmon. And if you ever go to the store and buy salmon, or if you are at a restaurant and order it and it says wild salmon, it might not be wild. This fish is often in the United States labeled and marketed incorrectly. And it's the fish that people in America eat more than any other fish. The National Fisheries Institute says salmon is only second to shrimp in seafood popularity in America, but that not all of the salmon is as advertised. They looked at salmon sold in Seattle area sushi restaurants and grocery stores, and they found that it's mislabeled about 18% of the time. This study was done November 6th, published in Journal PLOS ONE. Often, different species of salmon are mixed up. In at least one instance, trout was sold as salmon. The most prominent sort of mislabeling, though, they say happens in restaurants, where farmed salmon is presented as wild caught at the customer's expense because the wild caught costs more. They looked at 67 total grocery store samples. 9 of them were mislabeled. That's a rate of about 13%. The grocery salmon wasn't labeled in ways that uniformly benefited the stores, though. No instances where farmed salmon was falsely advertised as wild. Instead, certain wild species were sometimes sold as others, and in a handful of cases, the wild fish was labeled as farmed. Maybe honest mistakes? According to Seattle Pacific University, they don't know what's causing all the mix-ups here. Yeah. So, of the 52 sushi samples collected and assessed, 12 were mislabeled. That's 23% across all the restaurants sampled. In all of the cases, the fish were labeled as the more pricier variant of salmon than they actually were. In 10 of those instances, farmed Atlantic salmon was labeled as wild caught, and in 2 instances, a cheaper wild species was labeled as more expensive. Why do I bring this up? Just so you know, the next time you order salmon, what might be happening. There's no way to prove it, but do you really know what you're getting? That's all. I think it's important for us to realize that mislabeling might be happening. And while this is based in Seattle, the chances are good that it's happening, you know, in a wider range, a wider region. How about the lotto of the day? Let me talk about this guy. Hey, $200,000 for this North Carolina man, all based on his age. His age, a lucky number. It inspired him to buy a scratch off lottery ticket worth $200,000. His name is Jamar. He said he was at the Green Street grocery when he spotted a familiar number. He said, I'm 44 years old and I saw the scratch off on number 44, so I bought that one. The ticket in bay number 44, a $5 triple red 777 ticket, turned out to be the $200,000 top prize winner. And he said, I about passed out. It felt great though. He's going to use his winnings to go toward buying a house. He said it came right on time for him. That's good. You like it when things like that happen. We had a lot of talk about psilocybin on this show, whether or not it's effective in treating depression or PTSD, that certain states are trying to legalize psilocybin. There are studies being done, right? Now there's a study about psilocybin being used for the treatment of anorexia. There's an active chemical in magic mushrooms that the study authors say could help treat anorexia. 4 out of 10 study participants showed clinically significant reduction in their anorexia-driven eating habits. That's pretty significant. The researchers with the University of California, San Diego Eating Disorder Center say their findings suggest psilocybin may be helpful in supporting meaningful psychological change in a subset of people with anorexia nervosa. The study size was really small. So 10 adult women that had been diagnosed with anorexia each got a single 25 milligram dose of synthetic psilocybin combined with specialized psychological support. We know that people with anorexia obsess about their weight, their food intake. They severely limit the amount of food they eat. They might binge, this type of thing. 9 out of the 10 women treated with psilocybin ranked the session among their top 5 most meaningful life experiences. What's interesting, according to researchers, is that 60% of the participants reported a reduction in the importance of physical appearance. 70% noted quality of life improvements and shifts in personal identity. The changes in their psychological outlook, though, didn't automatically translate to weight restoration. Here's what they said about it, the women that were involved. One said, you're able to act in a way that maybe had felt unachievable before if you set the right intention. One said, things might not look different from the outside, but they feel completely different from the inside. Now, the researchers say it's not just about the psilocybin, that it's about comprehensive treatment approaches, given that this is a very complicated and life-threatening disorder. So they're going to do some other analyses with this that include brain imaging and genetic analysis so they can better understand the possible therapeutic value of psilocybin in this case. Some hope, though. This is a bad thing to get, so some hope for people. Pretty good. There is, speaking of health and cool health stories, there's this device being developed, and it has to do with lung cancer. It claims to test your breath for lung cancer. So you breathe into this thing that contains nanoflake sensors that can detect small changes in gases exhaled by a person with lung cancer. The sensors are looking for little changes in something called isoprene. Declines in isoprene can indicate the presence of lung cancer. So using this device, researchers tested the breath of 8 healthy people against that from 5 people with lung cancer. They published the results of their study in the journal ACS Sensors. The exhaled isoprene concentrations in lung cancer patients consistently fell below 40 parts per billion, in stark contrast to levels exceeding 60 parts per billion in healthy individuals. The findings, they say, validate the device's potential for rapid, cost-effective lung cancer diagnosis. People breathe out many gases, including water vapor and carbon dioxide, but a range of other airborne chemicals as well. So the sensors contain a blend of platinum, indium, and nickel. And apparently they were capable of detecting isoprene levels as low as 2 parts per billion. And that surpassed earlier versions of the sensors. So we may have, who knows, a new way to test for lung cancer to figure out lung cancer. Are you guys interested in seeing the Veterans Day parade in Petaluma? You want to see my daughter and you want to see it? I'll go to the chat. It's okay if you don't. Maybe you didn't come here to watch my kid wandering around the streets flicking a little mace around. But if you want to, I just got it emailed to me and we can watch it together. I don't know if it'll work. You want to see it? All right, I'll show it to you. Here it is. And I don't know if I'm going to love it. Okay. I mean, who's going to say no? No, Kim, we don't want to see your kid. Right? That's all right. You know what? I'm doing it. Here it is. I'm going to take away this comment. All right. And here is the Petaluma High School Veterans Day Parade. I think I have it here. Oops. Nope. I think I got it wrong. Sorry, you guys. Let me try again. Hold on, I'll try it again. Okay, here it is. So this is a pretty big parade. This is the biggest Veterans Day parade in the North Bay. They even have tanks in the streets and military flyovers. So kind of good. Here comes the Petaluma High School marching band. See the girl in the kilt? That's Julia. There she is. With her big tall hat and her kilt. At some point, she might stop and twirl this thing around. I don't know. There she goes. And she's supposed to be setting the pace for the rest of this crew. There they go. The Petaluma High School Marching Band. Yay, everybody. It's really a hometown parade. It's really sweet. But there are people that do come from all over the county to be celebrated. And especially the older veterans are, you know, their signs are made for them and they're put into convertibles and classic cars and carried through the streets. So pretty special. Thank you for humoring me on that because I wasn't able to go to the parade because of the show. So thank you for letting me see it. Cute. I know Heather's like, oh my God, I have to see your kid. Sorry, Heather. Yay, Julia, says Trevor. There she was in her super suit. Yeah, there you go. All right. Let's go. Let's move back into the show. Why don't we? How about this one? Heather might like this one. Math stuff. Here's a story for you. The world's largest prime number, record-breaking prime number containing more than 41 million digits has been found by a former NVIDIA programmer. This is Luke Durant. He's 36 years old. His passion is prime numbers. Luke, I think you need to get out more. But he devoted nearly 1 year. He invested a considerable sum of his own money to uncover what he says is the largest known prime number. So a prime number is a whole number that can be divided by 1 and itself. 2, 3, 5, 7, right? His official discovery is called M136279841, and it consists of an astounding 41,024,320 digits. Did I get that right? Yeah. He said it marks the first prime breakthrough in almost 6 years. The finding is being classified as Mersenne prime, named after the French monk Marin Mersenne, who studied these numbers more than 350 years ago. Mersenne primes are a rare kind of number, which makes Durant's finding of the 52nd known Mersenne prime more impressive. A number is only considered a Mersenne prime if it can be written in the form, I don't even know what that is, 2 with a little p minus 1. Don't ask me, I don't know. Unlike other large prime numbers used in some applications to protect international or internet security, Mersenne primes are important for other reasons. They say the historical record of the world's largest prime tells us something about the historical capability of computers, and it tells us something about the progress of humanity in this area. This math is really important. So there you go. We've got a new Mersenne prime, 41 million digits, by this former programmer for NVIDIA. If you're at a cocktail party and you're talking about prime numbers, I mean, come on. How about from important math stuffs to the world record for the most energy drink cans that one person can collect? I don't know about this guy. He drinks an awful lot of energy drinks. I tend to think he's not long for this world. He's from Rhode Island. Rhode Island. He's got a passion for caffeine, and he's managed to collect 1,019 energy drink cans. His name is Joel Spears. On YouTube, he goes by Caffeine Man. And he submitted evidence of his can collection and finally received official confirmation that yes, he has the world's largest collection of energy drink cans. I mean, does it look like a wall full of garbage? Put them in bags and take them to the recycling center. He said, I never thought I would have the Guinness World Record for anything. The channel started being successful, and I just kept collecting cans. And at one point, he said, I wonder how many do I have? So I counted them all up, and it ended up being a world record. He started his YouTube channel to review energy drinks about 6 years ago. He said I had to videotape the whole thing. I had to take pictures of each and every can, and the time-consuming part was I didn't know they needed an itemized list of every can. So it took me a long time to type up that itemized list. He said it was a long process, but it was worthwhile. And here's why I think he might not be long for this world. He usually drinks 1 or 2 energy drinks a day. His favorite? The Swedish fish flavor of Ghost energy drink. He drinks a lot of energy drinks. I don't know, Caffeine Man. Maybe you need to slow it down a little bit. But now he's got his record, and he's going to keep adding to his collection. Congratulations, Joel from Rhode Island. You got to do something, right? Okay, we just have time now for Hide in Your Cave Monday. Maybe many of us are emerging from our caves after the last week, or maybe we still feel like going back in. I found what I think is, I don't know if you call it a cave. I kind of do. It's the Scottish vaults. Did you know they had vaults in Scotland? You can take tours of them. Here's what it looks like inside. The Scottish vaults. That's rather cave-like, don't you think? It's underground. Look at the pictures. Kind of romantic. Like, maybe in a running for your life kind of way with a big burly Scotsman behind you to protect you with a sword. Maybe I'm watching too many. I'm reading too many romance novels. Stop it, Kim. This is hidden beneath Edinburgh's Old Town. These vaults, a series of chambers that once served as storage spaces, as workshops, and some of them even homes. They were built in the late 18th century, and then eventually This whole underground area was abandoned and totally forgotten about until they were rediscovered in the 1980s. I don't think they were forgotten about. I think people were using them and we just didn't know it. Today, the vaults are known for their ghostly tales, many visitors reporting eerie encounters, the damp, dark chambers echoing with stories of the city's past, giving you a spine-chilling glimpse into Edinburgh's history. They have a hidden location, which adds to the whole mystique of this place. The vaults are a popular yet secretive attraction. Here's another picture of them. I mean, if you were claustrophobic, I don't think you're going to want to be in the vaults. No. I could see touring this, though. They have daytime tours of the vaults. You imagine all the things that happened in here? There was a time when whiskey distillers used these vaults. The Southbridge vaults in Scotland. They had concealed the entrance to a vault. They knocked through a trap door from underneath. They broke into the water supply of a nearby building. They were eventually caught, these distillers. But for every gang they say that was caught, hundreds more got away with it. Eventually, the authorities in Scotland realized they were fighting a losing battle. They reduced the taxes. They made it easier to get a liquor license, and the better distillers went legit. So there might be some whiskey tasting down in the vaults as well. Let's look at the pictures again. There's the vaults. I mean, this cavern of chambers. Think about how much work it would have been to carve all those out. Incredible. I think that's pretty good for hiding your cave Monday. If you weren't ready to come out yet, I think it might be time to emerge, though. One more day, hide in that cave, hide in that vault, right? That is the After Party Live on this Monday. Tomorrow on the Mark Thompson Show, Republican Jamie Miller is going to come by and talk about the election, what he thinks is ahead, what he thinks happened, and then we'll follow it up with David K. Johnston, and he'll talk about what he thinks lies ahead as well. Really good Mark Thompson Show on tap for tomorrow. Josh says, beers, I'm good for plenty over time. Viewfinder says, all I can say is they hold a lot of documents, secret or otherwise. Blue Spark says, is that where they put people as punishment for playing bagpipes? Perhaps. Yeah. Did they tie Daniel Craig to a chair in those caves? Kind of creepy, but also lit up like that with the candles. I don't know. There's a little romance there too. Or maybe not. I don't know. Oh, did I forget that? Okay, let's go back. I don't want to leave you without that story because that was my whole point today, right? How did I forget it? Where's my Wordle picture? Do I have it? Here it is. How did I forget the Wordle story? Thank you for the reminder. Before we go, let's do Wordle. They're asking folks, give Wordle a break for a minute. We're doing a Wordle boycott. And that is because of a work stoppage. So there are striking workers with the New York Times Tech Guild. And these are the folks that make the puzzles for the newspaper, along with other content. And they started an industrial action this week over what they are calling unfair labor practices. And so they are hoping that you won't play Wordle and help them in their labor fight. The union said it gave management months of notice, but that ultimately the company has decided their members aren't worth enough to agree to a fair contract and have stopped committing, and they want them to stop committing unfair labor practices. So they walked out the day before the November 5th presidential election. So they walked out on the 4th, which is a huge day for data visualizations, right? The maps and all the things needed to be created. But the biggest impact, they say, is that they're asking people not to play games like Wordle or Connections while they are on strike. On November 4th, the Guild posted on X, "We ask that you not cross our digital picket line by playing any of the New York Times games, as well as not using the cooking app." The union launched a strike-friendly website with games and recipes for leaders. There are more than 600 tech workers in this New York Times Guild, along with software engineers and data analysts, and they build and maintain the critical infrastructure behind the New York Times, according to the Guild's website. New York Times spokesperson says they respect the union's right to engage in protected actions. They're disappointed that they would go on strike right now, and they look forward to working with the Tech Guild to reach a fair contract. But they say they're already among the highest paid individual contributors in the company, and journalism is our top priority. So, what do you think? Do you stop playing Wordle to support the New York Times tech workers or not? Oops, says D. I've been playing since they've been on strike. Well, there wasn't a lot of publication, or, word didn't spread publicizing about the Wordle boycott. Heather says, "Uh-oh, I'm on a 1,006-day winning streak. There's nothing that would get me to skip a day and lose that." No. Mars says they don't need people to make puzzles. They have AI. Deidre likes the crosswords. Sandy says, "I'll support the workers by starting not to play Wordle since I've never played it anyway." Well, there you go. And that is the Wordle story. Thank you for reminding me. It was like the one that I'd skipped today. So I appreciate that. Well, to all of you who served, and again, to all of the family members of those who've served, thank you. And I hope you have a good Veterans Day, and I hope that you're getting the day off. I will see you on the Mark Thompson Show tomorrow. Again, good show on tap. And then we'll be right back here on the After Party Live with Travel Tuesday. But until we meet again, make it a really good day. I'll see you.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Trevor Starr. Yes, I will do that. Thank you for the suggestion. And tomorrow I'll get that music on to play. And thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. I really appreciate it. Also, Ms. Organic throws down $2 as well. Huge, huge thank you. I just appreciate it so much. Thank you for the super chats and super stickers. And sorry I didn't see them. I'm having one of those klutzy days where I'm all discombobulated. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right.